Absolutely. They could be stun grenades to cause the people holding the hostages to be off balance when they move in, or it could be gunfire. We just don't know at this early hour.
What is intelligence your source is telling us right now about what the U.S. has learned about the unfolding scene in Paris tonight, whether or not these were calculated and coordinated?
Well, quite frankly, they're struggling. They don't really have a very good grasp at all. What they do know is that this was clearly well planned and a sophisticated operation, planned weeks or months in advance to have so many gunmen, so many terrorists at one time in 3 or 4 different locations act in a coordinated way. It is very troubling. It suggests either Al-Qaeda or ISIS or a major terror group that has the ability to put together all of these aspects into one horrifying attack.
But in your veteran reporting, when, if at all, do you remember a number like this of hostages inside a theater being held? And you also have learned that there was a concert inside France with an American band.
That's what they call the Eagles of death metal, the California rock band. In situations like this before, in Russia and elsewhere, when there are huge numbers of hostages, it rarely ends very well. It goes a long period of time.
And of course, we don't know for sure if, in fact, that band was performing, but we do know the band was on the schedule. You're looking at our broadcast partners overseas as they cover the unfolding terror attacks in Paris tonight, the coordinated attacks as they unfold. And right now, the most urgent scene, of course, at that concert hall, the theater, where it's believed more than 100 people, perhaps well more than 100, being held inside. And as you heard Louise DeWass report, our producer there in Paris a short time ago, that a series of blasts had been heard outside that theater. A short time ago, President Obama speaking in the White House briefing room about this situation, calling it, quote, heartbreaking, saying, "We stand with the people of France." Here's President Obama a short time ago.
This is an attack not just on Paris, it's an attack not just on the people of France, but this is an attack on all of humanity and the universal values that we share. We stand prepared and ready to provide whatever assistance that the government and the people of France need to respond. France is our oldest ally. The French people have stood shoulder to shoulder with the United States time and again. We want to be very clear that we stand together with them in the fight against terrorism and extremism. Paris itself represents the timeless values of human progress. Those who think that they can terrorize the people of France or the values that they stand for are wrong.
President Obama at the White House a short time ago. I want to bring in our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl. And John, I was struck by the words that we stand together with Paris, with France, and we heard those words just in January after the Charlie Hebdo attacks. Of course, we know the president was slated to travel to Paris in the coming weeks for a major climate change meeting, but this has got to rattle leaders really both here in America and overseas tonight.
Striking how somber the president was there. This is clearly a major setback in the fight against terrorism, and it comes just as the White House was talking about progress in the battle against the fight against ISIS, talking about how the drone strike overnight took out Jihadi John, one of the most prominent ISIS leaders. There's been progress in Iraq just in the last couple of days against ISIS, but what this shows, the president was quite clear, David, that he didn't want to speculate on who was behind these attacks, but what this shows is that the terror threat is not confined to Syria and Iraq. Look at what has happened just in the past 2 weeks. You had the Russian airliner that was taken down, suspected by ISIS, coming out of Egypt. You had the attack in Beirut just yesterday, ISIS claiming responsibility, and now you have this in Paris.
And of course, John, as we watch those pictures come in from Paris at this hour and this unfolding situation in the theater itself, word
oh my
that the
God.
Associated Press has confirmed